Now we can. All right, so this topic is still linked to management accounting. It still links to the marginal costing calculations. It's just that in this case, we are going to show the information on the break-even chart. Now, like I said, the class couldn't take place last week because I needed everyone to have a break-even chart in front of them that you are able to follow through what we are doing. I hope we all now have our break-even charts in front of us. So if we do, let's get started. Alpha Manufacturing produces and sells a single product. The following information relates to the product for the year ended 31st May 2025. So that the information are the same. The only difference is I removed 0 from every number because it was giving me millions and I didn't want it to go to millions. So I just removed 1 0 so that it doesn't get to millions. Okay. The selling price is given, like I said, the management account, the marginal costing can be given in 2 ways, in a simplified way and in a little bit complex. And it's not so complex because we have done a number of exercises already on this topic, so I'm sure it's no more complex. So I'm going to teach it to you in a simplified way so that you get an overall understanding of how to go about doing the things. And then from there, I'm going to give you a homework that you must submit tomorrow that has a little bit of complex thing, and it's just exactly the same one that I gave you last time. Okay, the selling price is given, the variable cost is given, the fixed cost and the unit cost. And then the question will say, draw a break-even graph using the information given. Now, when you are drawing a break-even graph, this is the most important thing. I'll even make it a little bit smaller so that we can see everything. You need to know how much is your maximum output in that question. How much is your total sales? How much is your total cost? Then you identify the suitable scale for the X and the Y axis. Then you need to label your graph. Then you need to draw the sales line. You need to start from 0. Then you draw your fixed cost. You draw your total cost. You indicate your break-even point. And I think then the area of profit or loss. In some times, you might also be required to indicate the margin of safety. I think you must also indicate it there. So that will be number 11, margin of safety. I can just put it here. I mark paper 1. I don't mark paper 2, so I will not really know how they mark here. And paper 2 is usually the one that has the break-even information. But to be on the safe side, indicate margin of safety. Indicate margin of safety. Okay, so these are the information. Now, the first thing is identify, because I already taught you this topic, I will expect you to be the one guiding me in getting me the answer. The first thing that we need to know here, identify the maximum output. How much is the total output that this business is producing? In marginal costing, the assumption is everything that is produced is sold. You must have that assumption at the back of your mind. If you produce 20,000 units, you are selling 20,000 units. So how much is the maximum output in this question?
$4,800.
Perfect. I hope I'm not going to be met with silence today. It didn't do well for me one of the times when I was met with a lot of silence. 4,800. Next question. Calculate total sales. So I'm putting the information back, and you are going to calculate for me the total sales.
96,000.
Okay. Make sure you also got 26,000. So
96.
our total sales is 26,000, and it's in dollars here. 26,000.
Say
So if it's
Yes.
not 96,
96.
96.
So it's 96.
Yes, sir.
So the person that got 26,000, let us see. Can you try to figure out how they got 96? How they got 96? They took the $20, the selling price, multiplied by the unit sold. So that's how they got 96. You must not have an answer that is not here. The idea is for you to understand everything. Total cost. The hint that I'm going to give you is total cost is equal to total variable cost plus total fixed cost. Now, total variable cost plus total fixed cost. Can you get me that answer? If you have a question, you stop me and then I help you before we move on.
1,200.
How much?
67,200.
Okay, make sure you also have this one. If you are busy calculating, we'll give you 30 seconds to get the answer also. I will always have a problem with Titus. All right. How much? Oh, okay, no. So all of us are able to get these three amounts, isn't it? Or is there anybody who couldn't get those three amounts? The maximum units, the total sales, and the total cost. Those are the three amounts that we need. Now, after we do that, we must identify the suitable scale for the X and the Y axis. Let's go to our chart. The X axis is showing the sales and the cost. In other words, the money. I'm not sure if I'm able to write it going vertically, but I'll just write here, sales and costs in Namibian dollars. This is the X-axis. Because remember, we need to identify the suitable scale. X-axis, you put in the sales and the cost in dollars. And the Y-axis, which is here, Y-axis, we are going to put output. Perfect. Sometimes it will be output, sometimes it will be regarded as level of, or let's just say units. Let's call it units, because output is more of what is produced, but units also includes what is sold. Okay. Valentina, you have a question? Your hand is raised. Okay, maybe it's just raised, but there's no question. All right. Now, let us now identify the scale. This is now where I want your attention properly. When we are talking about the scale, we are saying, what numbers do we need to put here? I don't know why it's not showing now, but okay, what numbers do we need to put at these intervals? What numbers do we need to put there? That's what we call now the scale. The numbers that you put there, someone can decide they are putting 1,000. If you put 1,000, you are telling us that the distance from here to here, it's 1,000. The same distance from here up to here must also be 1,000. So this must be 2,000. And this one must be 3,000. It means you are using a scale of 1,000. This should be 4,000. Now, the problem with putting 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, the information that you have here, especially the total sales of 96,000, might not fit on your graph because you will just have 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, but it will never get to 1,000 to 96,000. If I plot everything here with a margin of 1,000, I might just get maybe to 22,000. So it is not yet enough. It's not compulsory that your graph need to go up to the end, but the number that you are putting on, the maximum number, need to accommodate this total sales. For example, you must not have a graph that ends at 50,000, but you have a sales of 96,000, which cannot be plotted on this graph. So your number, the minimum that you must have should be 100,000. So that if we want to plot 96,000, we know it's going to be somewhere just below 100,000. It needs to be below. Now, when you are plotting this 100,000, there are no rules where it can be. Your 100,000 for one learner can be here. 100,000 for another learner can be there. 100,000 for another learner can be there. Another one can be there. Another learner can even have a 200,000. It does not matter what you have there. As long as the numbers that are here accommodates this 67,000, it also accommodates the 96,000. I hope that part is clear. Now, that is now where you have to come and determine your scale correctly. Because if we say that we are using a scale of 1,000, we have noticed that 1,000 will never materialize because you will finish this chart, but you are not yet at a number that accommodates 96,000. If you choose that you are going to make 50,000, this distance is 50,000. This distance will obviously be 100,000, 50 plus 50. This distance will also be 150. This distance will be 200. The scale is fine, but where is your 96,000? Your 96,000 is going to be in this area. If the exam gave you this whole chart, why are you making your chart too small when you have this whole area to draw? So that's why when you are choosing a scale, you need to choose a scale that will at least make the chart end even in the middle, not too much at the bottom, also not too much at the top. Not that it's wrong, it's going to be to give you the correct answers also, but it's just not advisable because it can get you confused. Because if this is 50,000, it means if someone has 13,200, you are going to struggle putting it here. Now, the other thing that I want to tell you about the scale is choose a scale that is easily manageable. In that way, I mean, choose a scale that can easily be divisible by other numbers. For example, if you choose a scale of 7,000, and then this is a scale, the next one is 14,000, the next one is 21,000, then you have 28,000 because it's 7,000 everywhere. Of course, 96,000 will be on this chart, but this scale will be so difficult, especially if we want to plot this number, 67. It might be very difficult to plot this 67. Choose a scale that is in the multiples of 5, in the multiples of 10, in the multiples of 20. Then, because how this chart is, if I just zoom in properly, you can see if you have a number here, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks before you get to the next one. So if you say that this is 10, for instance, and this is 20, then we know the number in the middle. Then we know this is maybe, let me just get a different color, and I reduce this. Then we know that this is maybe 12, 14, 16, 18, and then 20. It's so easy for you to identify numbers to these things. Because if your number is 17, or I mean 16, it's easier for you to just say, okay, if this is 10, then this is 12, 14, 16, then you can plot it. It's just going there properly. But if you decide that your scale that you are going to use is 3, if your scale is 3, then here you have 13. Now, if this is 13, how much is this? How much is this? It becomes so difficult because you know which one is in the middle. The middle area is this. What is the number between 10 and 13? I think it's 11.5. So you'll say this is now 11.5. It gets so difficult. Now, if this is 11.5, then what number is here? Then this is 12.75, 11 point what. It becomes so difficult because you have not made the scale easily divisible by 5 or by 10. Before I continue, do we understand these things, that what I just said now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I need the response.
Yes, sir.
Do we understand what I'm talking about by the scale?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if you understand the scale, now we will go to the numbers and you are going to advise me. Let's start with the output because the output is the same approach. Our total output is 4,800. That means this chart, this 4,500 must not be here. The chart is too short. It must not be here. The chart is too long. Not that it cannot be there. You can also put it there. It's not a problem. This 4,500 must be somewhere in this region. Now, what number must we start plotting so that we have a 4,800 in this region that we are not going to struggle finding a point? So who can suggest for me the scale that I must use? Because it starts from here. What scale must I put here?
Sir.
Yes.
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, I found 400.
I must use 400.
400.
Okay. Now, one learner will use 400, another one will use 1,000, another one will use the 500. It does not matter which one you will use. All of you, your break evens are going to be correct. So he decided we must use 400. So we are going to use his example. We'll use 400. And now what I'm saying is, it must not necessarily be, the scale must not necessarily be a multiple. Is it a multiple or a factor? It must not necessarily be a multiple of this number. You can also use 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. It doesn't matter. But when you make it a multiple of this number, it might just become easier for you to plot it. Okay, so he decided we must use 400. So I also agree with him. Not that it's the only correct number, but we can use another. We put 800 there. Then this one will be 1,200. This one will be 1,600. 2,000. 2,400. I hope we all get it. If you don't get it, don't wait for me to finish explaining and you tell me I don't understand. If there's a part that you don't understand, that's the part that you must ask. And I hope you get what I am doing here. And here is 4,000. This is 4,400. The problem I have with this scale, it's making our graph too long, too large. But it's not a problem. Like I said, it can be here, it can be there. It's not wrong, but it's just making it too large. The idea was to have it somewhere here. But that's not a problem. We can work with 4,800. If you want, you can put the next number. Not that it will matter, but you can put the next number. Now, let's look at our total sales. What scale must we use? And like I said, that number that you are using as a scale, it does not necessarily have to be divided by 95. It can be any number as long as it will put 96,000 within that chart. Someone advise us.
6,000, sir.
6,000. Okay. Before we go to 6,000, let's see. If we put 6,000 here, if we put 6,000 there, what number is here? Please tell us. What number is here?
12,000. Oh, there it will be 1,000.
Here it will be 1,000. Okay. And here, 2,000. Here, 3,000. Here, 4,000. Now you have the same scale giving 1,000, but when you got here, you have, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then from 4, it's 6. Do you get what I'm saying? Or should I zoom in so that I explain? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes,
No,
sir.
sir.
What is wrong with that scale? Okay, I'll be back now. I must find the answer. Okay, I need people to respond now. Or if there's nobody that can see what is wrong with this scale, can someone suggest another scale? Because this one, I won't be able to work with this one. But it was going to be nice if you know why I can't work with 6,000.
I can maybe use 10,000.
Excuse me?
10,000.
Okay, 10,000. Because even this 400, we might have a problem with it, but hopefully not. Okay, so 10,000 I can work with. Because your scale must be able to give an answer to this smaller scale. Because then we can say this is 2,000, this is 4,000, this is 6,000, this is 8,000, and it's 10,000. But even this 400 that we put here, it can work, but the problem is what number is here? What number is here? What number is there? What number is there? And it's going to give us a problem when we are going to plot a specific number. But you'll see when we go and plot on Y, you need to get a scale that can also fit in these smaller scales. But now here we are fine. I'm not sure about this one. So here we have a 10,000. So we have a 10,000 there. We have a 20,000. We have a 30,000. 40, 50, 60, 90, and then 100. We don't have to go to 120 because the last figure that we have is 90 something, so it's within that margin. I unfortunately have to change this one because this is going to give me a problem with finding out what number is here. Like our break even. How much is our break even? Can someone quickly calculate for us our break even? Our break even in units, quickly. I want to explain to you why I don't want to work with 400.
So 1,200 units.
Mics are off. Okay. The mics are not off, just unmute. There's somewhere where you need to unmute. Yeah. just
1,200.
1,200 units.
So the number of units is 1,200. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Let's see. Will it work? Okay. So in this case, it's fine. It will work. But imagine if you have gotten 1,000 or just 900. Where are you going to place the 900? What is the number between 800 and 1,200? The number in between is $1,000. Now you have $1,000 here. What is the number between 1,000 and 800? It's 900. You are going to place it here. That means you are just placing it in the middle of lines, which will actually be a little bit difficult. But okay, our break even at least is 1,200. Will not have a problem. This was step 4, identify suitable scale. Do we understand that step of identifying suitable scale? Because that's the most important.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now we are going to labeling of the graph. Fortunately, we already labeled it. Sales and cost, and here is, we label it already as units. So that was the one of labeling. The next step, draw the total sales line starting from 0. This is where I said we needed a ruler. Our sales always start from 0. It starts from 0 and it goes to all the way up to where our total sales is. Our total sales is at 96,000. So we are going to count here and say, this is 90, this is 92, this is 93, 94, 96. So our total sale is here. So we are now going to draw a line. I'll make it different. I'll make it red. Is it red or dotted? Do we have dotted line? We don't have a dotted line. And if we know that it's going to be here, we might have a problem of getting it. Okay, let me just do it this way. We know our 96,000 is here. It needs to correspond with the total output. Let me see where our total output is. Our total output is 4,800 because our total sales is coming at the total output. Then you also plot our total output. Then we know that our total sale must end here. Our total sales must end here. If you have a paper and a pen there, you must also draw. So you must now draw a line. The other time when I was doing it with the other class, we were struggling. That must start from there and it must come all the way to 0. Okay. But in your paper, it will come to 0. Here, we'll struggle to put it to 0, unless if I draw another one from here again. But in your paper, it will get to 0. Yes.
How did she count the blocks from the 90 to the 100,000?
To the 96,000.
Yes, sir, because I'm counting 91, 90, 93, and then 94. Just
when you are counting here, because the scale is 10, it means if you count 91, 92, 93, 94, then the scale is not that one. Then you must now find out. That's why when we were starting, I was saying, if this is a scale of 10, what number is here? This number is 2,000. This number, the one that is here, is 4,000, 6,000, 8,000. That's why I was saying we need to know how much is those smaller blocks. If this is 90, the next one is 92. The next one is the next one is 92, 94, 96, and 98. Is there someone who can help me explain it properly better? For the person who doesn't understand how we got it, can someone assist in case I didn't get it, I didn't explain it properly? How did we just decide that this line, the 96,000 is here? Who can help us? You just unmute and then you talk. Are you not able to unmute? Because I'm just seeing on the group, our mic is off. Let me try again these settings. Let me quickly try these settings again. Meeting options. Try to unmute your mic. Because I can hear some of you.
Afternoon, sir.
Yes.
May I try to explain?
Yes, please try to explain.
When we place the scale of 10,000, it's for every 5 blocks. Every 5 blocks means a $10,000. So when we look at every 5 blocks, each block has the value of 2,000. So when we count from the first one, it's 0, then it's 2, 4, 6, 8. It will give us until 10,000. That's how we moved up from 10,000.
Okay. And then here the 96.
For the 96, it's from 90,000 to 100,000. There's 5 blocks in between. So we divide the 5 blocks for the 10,000, we get 2,000. So every block, it's 2,000. So we take 2,000, we add it to the 90,000, it's 92, 94, then 96, which will bring us to 96,000.
Perfect. You said something actually that I should have mentioned. Thank you for that. With the scale that is here, you must divide it with the number of blocks that are there. We have 5 blocks before you get to the next scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if our scale is 10,000, you need to divide this by 5 blocks. Thank you for that explanation. So that we know that each block is 2,000. If our scale was 15,000, then you need to divide that 15,000. If this was 15, 30, 45, and so on, then we need to divide that with the number of blocks that we have. Then we know each block that is there is 3,000. Then it's 90,000, 93,000, 96,000, 99,000, 2,000, 104,000. So that's how we get those scales. Do we now get it specifically for the person who didn't understand? Do we now get why this is 96? Because
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. I'm happy. And here it's easier because the 4,800 fortunately just falls within our line. So it's not in between. So that's why now you see why I said, make sure those blocks, you know how much is in between there. Because when you get a number that is in between the 2 blocks, like the 96, you need to know where you must plot that. Do I plot it here? Do I plot it there? But if you know how much is each block, then it becomes easier. So we go back here. We have drawn our total sales line and we started from 0. Our total sales is here. We started from 0 and we draw it at 96,000, which needs to correspond with 4,800. So that one is fine. Now, the next one, we need to draw our fixed
I have
cost.
a question.
Yes.
So say now you have another scale, and instead, the scale you don't get an exact 96,000. You get 96,000 point something. Does it mean that your scale is wrong, or do you draw the line there throughout 96,000?
Your scale will not be wrong, but it might just mean that your line is not going to be at this line's provision. It might just mean that your line might be, for example, here. Can you see like where this line is? Can you see that it's not exactly within that line? Because maybe this is 95, and then maybe this is your 96. That's why it's just going to be a little bit difficult because you did not choose the correct scale. But then if you measure it properly, you are still going to get the exact scale.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then the next one is the total fixed line. Our total fixed line, we must find out how much is our fixed cost. Our fixed cost is 9,600. Now we come to our, okay, this question, I just took it from the head. So that's why we see our fixed cost is way, 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 way too low. fixed cost is supposed to be somewhere around here, but this cost, fixed cost, maybe this business is actually going to make a huge profit. But anyways, our fixed cost is 9,600. So 9,600, this is now where your question comes in. It's going to be very difficult to plot in because we have, this is 2,000, 4,000. This is 2,000, 4,000, 8,000, 2,000, 4,000, 6,000, 8,000. 8,000 is here. That means our 9,600 should be between this block and this block. That's where our 9,600 is. But it's not exactly in the middle because the number that is in the middle is 9,000 itself. What is in the middle of the two blocks is 9,000 itself. That means it's just a little bit above the middle. Do you understand what I'm saying there? Just a little bit above these two blocks. Because we have a 2,000, 4,000, 6,000, 8,000. So 96,600 is in this block. But it's in this block where it's not in the middle, because from 8,000, the number in the middle is 96. I mean, it's 9,000. But this is an extra 6,000, so it must be a little bit above the middle of that block. Do we get it? Now you see why this is now giving us trouble. But let's try our best. How do I? I'm trying to draw it, but on your paper, just quickly draw it because here I'm having a challenge. That means I'll just have to draw it with this. It's way too large. I can't make it smaller, but it's a little bit above here. Maybe I need to minimize. I must remove this. Somewhere in this line. And then you must draw it up to where the units are ending. Somewhere there. So this is your fixed cost. What is the next thing that you must do? Draw the total cost line. Total cost must start from fixed cost. Maybe I should have indicated it here. Start from fixed cost. It must start from fixed cost. So we come to our fixed cost. How much is our total cost for this question that we have?
57,600.
Our fixed cost. Oh, sorry, not our fixed cost, but our
Total cost.
Our total cost.
It's
Yes.
57,600.
How much?
57,600.
Is that our total? Is it not this one? Because first you gave me this answer.
Total costs.
Yes.
Sorry.
67,200. So your line needs to start from fixed cost and it must end at 67,000 corresponding with the total units. So your line needs to be like this. 67 67 is just below 8,000. So it needs to end somewhere just below here. Yes, perfect. Now, how will you know that you are correct? Your break-even chart, for you to know that you are correct, the value of your break-even must be exactly at 1,200. Can you see? I did not even force it there. It just came exactly at 1,200, which is what we have done in the question. And your break-even in sales must be exactly at this value. Can someone calculate for me what is the break-even in sales? Then we find out if that is the value. Without forcing it, by just putting the lines, it must be exactly there. Can someone calculate for us break-even in sales? The question is there. Those of you that can answer, it's the first time I'm seeing this thing being.
So it's 24,000.
24,000.
Now let's see. Can you now see on my chart that the break-even is exactly at 24,000? I didn't even try to adjust the line. It's exactly just at 22.24. Break-even in units, it's exactly at 1,200. Why? Because the scale was correct and the lines, I did them exactly the way it's supposed to be done. Then you know you are going to get maximum marks. The only thing that you need to do to get maximum marks, you get 1 mark for labeling your graph, for saying that is sales, for saying that is total costs, for saying that this is fixed cost, for indicating that this is profit, you indicate the profit and you must also write for indicating that this is profit, for indicating that this is a loss. Which one is the margin of safety? The area that sales is allowed to fall before you make a loss. The margin of safety is this whole area. This area from here. Sales is allowed to fall from here up to here without making a loss. So this area is a margin of safety. Now, do I have any question? Because all the steps are now done here. Indicate area of loss or profit, indicate break-even point, indicate margin of safety. Do I have a question?
Everything is clear.
Everything is clear. Okay. If everything is clear, we are going to end here for today. I'm going to give you the homework that I need tomorrow by 7 on my 081 number. Sorry for those ones that were not able to answer. I don't know what happened. I have to figure out why it's not allowing you to talk. Maybe you are, I don't know. Okay, so we are ending here for today. See you next time.
Bye, sir.